smoke is usually referred to as cigarette smoke, but it includes smoke from cigars, pipes, and smokable narcotics. Secondhand smoke is smoke pollution that comes directly from cigarettes or from smokers exhaling cigarette smoke. It is in essence a pollution. It is secondhand because sometimes somebody lights a cigarette, but other people get stuck with the smoke from it, and they have to inhale it. Let me demonstrate. This is not my cigarette, but yet, as you can see, it's polluting my breathing space. I have to breathe in smoke caused by somebody else's filthy habit, and therefore, I get stuck with somebody's secondhand smoke. This is even more easily demonstrated when you go to a bar or a lounge. You will notice the air is filled with smoke, or rather, secondhand smoke, that we have to breathe in. Not a comfortable experience for us non-smokers. Who is at risk? Well, to put it simply, everybody. Anybody that has to breathe in secondhand smoke is at risk. These include a wide variety of people, from babies to nurses, from engineers to bartenders. Anybody that has to breathe in someone else's cigarette smoke is at risk. We can, however, split this into two categories: smokers and non-smokers. Non-smokers are less at risk than smokers, only because we don't get the double exposure that smokers get. Not only do they breathe smoke that is directly in the environment from other people's cigarette smoke, but they also get the initial smoke, or the blast, from the direct inhalation of their own cigarettes. So now you ask, why is secondhand smoke dangerous? Well, frankly, secondhand smoke is dangerous because we suck it into our lungs. Here, the smoke fills our lungs, and the soot contained in the smoke coats the lining of our lungs. This soot contains chemicals which have proven to be toxic. These chemicals are potentially hazardous because they're carcinogenic, or in simpler terms, cancer-causing. These chemicals are known as polyaromatic hydrocarbons, which simply means carbon molecules which form a ring structure. Actually, you can see right here, carbon molecules forming a ring structure. To keep things simple, I will only elaborate on the most important of these polyaromatic hydrocarbons, which is benzopyrene. Here's a diagram of the structure, and as you can see, we have carbon chains that form the rings, and this specific molecule has 5 such carbon rings. So when we breathe in the smoke, the soot, which consists of these polyaromatic hydrocarbons, coats the inside of our lungs. If you've ever seen an autopsy of a lung from a smoker and a non-smoker, the non-smoker lung is always nice and pink, reddish. The smoker's lung is always black. That's the soot. As most people are aware, our bodies have a built-in defense system which tries to get rid of anything that is foreign to our body. Within our bodies, we have chemicals known as enzymes, and it's these enzymes that try to break down these polyaromatic hydrocarbons, or cyclic carbons, so that they can be eliminated from our body. But rather than successfully breaking these chemicals down to something rather simple, they end up being converted to chemicals known as epoxides. Now, the problem with these epoxides is they bind to DNA within a cell. Now, it is the DNA that is responsible for creating new cells from old cells. But these epoxides bind to the DNA, and sometimes this interferes with the cell's replication. What happens is we sometimes get mutated cells instead of the usual identical cells. Mutated cells can become cancerous cells. When this happens inside our lungs, we get what is known as lung cancer. Thank you. And now with Heather Langman and her topic. Thank you.
This is the law.
In May 1986, the smoking restrictions were set in place by Vancouver City Council. They were added to the already existing health bylaw. They deal with smoking in indoor public places and the workplace. Since that time, they have made a number of amendments, and health bylaw number 6580 should be referenced. Why should there be smoking restrictions? There's increasing medical evidence about the harmful effects of secondhand smoke. It is clear that people become ill. It is the medical health officer's responsibility to recommend ways to improve the health of the population of Vancouver. What areas are affected by this bylaw? Well, there's 2 types of restrictions. There's total restrictions and partial restrictions. The total restrictions include most indoor public areas, which are generally open to the public. Elevators, these include elevators, malls, escalators, classrooms, washrooms, concert halls, reception areas, auditoriums, retail shops, gymnasiums, service lines, swimming pools, public transit, lecture halls, taxi cabs and theaters, museums, galleries, libraries, areas where food is prepared, cooked, and displayed. Partial restrictions include restaurants. They can designate 50% of their seating as a non-smoking section, provided that the area is designated so that any adverse effects from the smoking section will not affect them. Personal service establishments, again 50% of the area may be designated as smoking. Workplaces. Employers are encouraged to adopt a workplace smoking policy. These policies may include designated smoking areas, provided that non-smokers don't have to gain access to the areas that are smoking as part of their regular duties. And the areas that are designated to be smoking be designed to minimize the adverse effects of the non-smoking areas. In workplaces where a policy has been adopted, a sign must be posted in a prominent place, and the employees must be distributed a policy to all of them. If policy is established and posted, then the worksite will be deemed a non-smoking. Oh, if there is no policy. Sorry. The bylaw does include some areas. They exclude some areas. These areas are pool halls, dance halls, cocktail lounges, public houses, bars, and casinos. The operators may restrict smoking in the areas if they so desire. The enforcement of this bylaw relies heavily on common sense and voluntary compliance. However, the Environmental Health Division of the Health Department can impose fines of $50 to $2,000 maximum. This only may be enforced after an investigation of a complaint. Thank you. And here is Shelly Stetsko with her interview.
Tonight we're doing an interview of the Talent Pump. A couple years ago this bar tried to do a non-smoking thing. Actually about 3 years ago they wanted to have the whole bar non-smoking. And today we're going to go in, we're going to interview Mr. Joe McLean, who is the owner of the bar and who was the owner at the time, and see exactly what he thought of it.
Hello.
Hi. You're the owner of the Town Pump here, and a couple years ago you had a great idea. You wanted to try and be the world's first, or the Canada's first non-smoking bar.
Mm-hmm.
And what got you onto that idea?
It was my brother's idea.
Your brother's
I just like to make that clear from the start. It wasn't my idea.
That's your idea?
But what got us onto it? That at that time, about 3 years ago, business was slipping a little bit, and we were thinking of things that we could do to make an impact in society to try to bring people down here. The demographics of Vancouver and the people who smoke and don't smoke really pointed towards the people in Vancouver were at a higher percentage of people who didn't smoke. It was about 75% of people didn't smoke.
Yeah, I think it's still that way.
So when we turned over, we had a great response saying that it was the best idea ever, and phone calls and letters and everything, but it just didn't work.
Didn't work. How long did you give it a try for?
6 weeks.
6 weeks only,
Yeah.
eh?
Lost $175,000 in 6 weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? So the
but
customers that you did have come in, obviously you had some come in. What kind of feedback were you getting?
Well, during the week, our business dropped by about probably 80%.
Oh, that's significant.
We had no one in here.
So that you had at the time you went through this change, did you notice that any of them stopped coming? Like every bar has their regulars that like a place.
Yeah, I had our regulars threatening them that they wouldn't come anymore, and we did lose a lot of people. We also gained a whole new crowd too of people. During the week, like I said, it was very quiet. Weekends they would come in earlier. They would come in about 9 o'clock instead of 10:30 like they do now. But they would leave at 12. you know, and we were empty by 1 on a weekend, which was really strange. But we did lose a lot of customers. We lost a lot of face with the music industry and the music business with the promoters and whatnot. But also really scared the crap out of them too, because they were afraid that we're going to lose one of the premier showcase venue. So got a lot of press on it, Mark. A lot of press.
Yeah, because I remember hearing the advertising on the TV.
Yeah.
I guess one of the things now is the city of Vancouver is considering a bylaw, a non-smoking bylaw that will make smoking in all public places illegal. So that all your bars, all your restaurants.
It would be ridiculous.
Yeah. Is that what you think?
It wouldn't work. I mean, it would work eventually, but it'd be too much of an outcry. I mean, smoking and drinking go together, and it goes hand in hand for a lot of people.
But you don't think it would have been more successful, say, for you if everyone else had to do it too? I mean,
Well,
maybe people.
if everybody had to do it too, then I guess it wouldn't make much of a difference. Because it would just be like.
People still like to go dancing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think it might keep more people at home too. If they can't go. If you're a chronic smoker, you don't want to go outside every 10 minutes and have a smoke.
Yeah.
You want to be able to sit and enjoy your drink and enjoy the band or enjoy whatever you're doing and smoke and do your thing.
As far as cost, I know maybe in a bar because it's darker, but replacing furniture or things that get burnt over time, I don't know, is that a major problem? In owning a bar?
The bars, it's a stinky old bar, but this concept would work at a nice, clean little bar, nice, brand new little neighborhood pub, something like that, whatever, nice and shiny and brass, white walls and stuff without nicotine all over the place. Because it does really, after 3 months you can go up to the ceiling and put a line in and let it smoke and comes out. Plus this place is not too well vented because it's, almost 100 years old, this building, so, I don't put a venting system in.
Must have been nicer for the staff though. To have
Oh, it was great. It was nice because when you were actually watching the band, you weren't watching it through a haze. You were watching it and it was a lot brighter. And you come home and your
clothes still smell good.
Your clothes smell good. Your hair didn't smell good. Even though we were downstairs in the office, we were hacking butts.
Have many people come up to you since then and said, "Oh, geez, wish you would have stayed," or more positive the other way?
It was about half and half, really. The music people, the people who enjoyed the music that was here were happy that we went back to the old format. But I was just down the block about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and at this little store down the street, and this lady comes in and says, or her husband introduced me and says, "This is Joe from the town pump." And she says, "Oh, you're the non-smoking bar." And I said, "No, we were a non-smoking bar about 3 years ago." And she said, "Oh, I didn't know." So there's still that stigma around that we are still. People. I was doing talk shows in Australia, Japan,
really?
in New York. Radio talk shows over the phone.
Oh, this is big time, so
Yeah.
we'll beat them all. Yeah, we'll go syndicate after this.
Maybe our own little cable show.
Yeah, exactly. Is there anything else any other things that come to mind that you'd like to say? You've already stated that you figure the non-smoking bylaw in the city would not work.
Well, they tried down in Los Angeles, and they outruled it. I mean, smokers have their rights too. I think that's right.
That's the town pump. The people that used to come here before the town pump became a non-smoking bar. And after, so tell me, you came here before the bar tonight, right? And how did you feel when they decided to become a non-smoking bar? What was your reaction?
I decided I wouldn't come here anymore. a smoker, have you ever wanted to quit, or have you ever tried quitting?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people have.
But I figure it's much more, it's detrimental to my health when I'm under that stress. You know, why should I climb a wall when a cigarette is going to cure me?
Right, exactly. I know what you mean. What do you think of these posting signs, say in elevators, restaurants, that
Well,
sort
they
of
have
thing?
their rights. I have no objection. If there's this no smoking sign, I'll abide by those laws.
Mm-hmm. So that doesn't bother you
No.
very much. Has anyone? Sorry, go ahead.
No, okay.
Okay. Has anyone ever, say friends or anything like that, have they ever said, please refrain from smoking in my home?
Oh, yes.
And you respect that? You have no problem with that?
I have no problem.
Okay.
I just don't visit them too often.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when it's cold out, that kind of thing. Otherwise you have to go
Well, you
outside.
can always sit on the veranda or something,
Yeah, that's
you know.
true. That's true. So what do you think the media is? Do you think the media is doing a good job of reporting the dangers of smoking?
I think it's blown all out of proportion, really. I don't feel
What do you think about these packages of cigarettes that have a big warning sign on, say, Surgeon General warns smoking cigarettes or pregnancy, do not smoke?
well, to tell you the truth, I don't read it. You know, I don't, to me, you know, if I buy a package of cigarettes, I don't read it.
Yeah.
You know, it's there, but it's not something
But it's
I
not
observe.
something that's going to affect you psychologically?
No.
Because I think that's what they're trying to do. I hear that they're actually going to make the sign even bigger, so you probably wouldn't see that either, even if, yeah. Yours?
Yep.
And approximately how many cigarettes do you smoke a day?
Probably half of that.
Huh? And have you ever thought about quitting or ever tried to quit?
Yep.
Yeah, it didn't work out.
No, it's almost an impossibility after a year.
Yeah, so do you smoke more when you're under stress?
Yeah, I probably rely on it actually. For
Yeah,
stress,
yeah, a lot of people do. What do you think about posting non-smoking signs in, say, a elevator or a restaurant or a mall?
Well, it's only, I guess, out of due respect for people who don't smoke, so I don't see a problem with it. You know, sometimes I'll still smoke in the elevator if there's no smoking, but only if you know what's in there, right?
Right. So would you go to a restaurant that doesn't have a smoking section at
Yeah,
all?
absolutely.
You would?
I'd rather probably eat in a restaurant with no smoking if I get, get that smell.
Yeah, that's true. What about a bar? Would you go to a bar?
Yep.
That was non-smoking?
Sure.
Yeah, that wouldn't bother you at all?
No.
Because I know a lot of people when they drink, they really would like to have
Yeah,
a cigarette.
well, no, if
Sort
I
of
went to a
goes
bar that
together.
was not smoking, I probably wouldn't drink.
Yeah. Yeah, they two go together really
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
don't they? What do you think that the media is doing a sufficient job of reporting to the public on the dangers of smoking?
Yep,
Health
for sure.
hazards
Yeah, because
associated?
with the warnings on the smoke packs and things like that.
What do you think about those? Does that make you?
I think subliminally it tells me I should quit really bad because it's always there. You know, it's always on TV or in the papers or whatever. It's always bad for it. So it's always subliminally telling me maybe it'll work one day.
Found while taping in the Metro Town Mall, not all the people interviewed will be shown on this tape. Instead, 15 smokers and 15 non-smokers, for a total of 30 people, were interviewed at the Metro Town Mall. Let's have a look at the results, starting with the smokers. 13 out of 15, for a total of 86.6% of smokers, have tried quitting at least once. Out of the non-smokers, 2 out of 15, for a total of 13.3%, did smoke at one time and then quit. Back to the smoker side again, 11 out of 15, for a total of 73.3% of smokers would not eat in a non-smoking restaurant. On the non-smoker side, 14 out of 15, for a total of 93.3% of non-smokers would not eat in a restaurant without a non-smoking section. Back to the smokers, 14 out of 15, for a total of 93.3%, would not visit a non-smoking bar. And the non-smokers, 11 out of 15, for a total of 73.3% of non-smokers would go to a non-smoking bar, and the other 26.7% were indifferent. With the smokers again, 6 out of 15, for a total of 40% of smokers interviewed said they have been asked to refrain from smoking smoking in non-smoking people's homes. 10 out of 15, for a total of 66.7% of the non-smokers, ask smokers to refrain from smoking in their cars and homes. With the smokers, 5 out of 15, for a total of 33.3%, think they deserve the right to smoke in any public place. The other 66.7% believe they should respect the rights of non-smokers. Back to the non-smoker side, 10 out of 15, for a total of 66.7%, would like to see all public places post non-smoking signs. Finally, back to the smokers again, 14 out of 15, for a total of 93.3%, the smokers believe the media is doing a good job informing the public on the dangers associated with smoking, whereas the non-smokers, 12 out of 15, for a total of 80%, believe that the media is doing a good job of informing the public on the dangers of smoking cigarettes. And there you have it. Those are the results of the people that we interviewed, the non-smokers versus the smokers at the Metro Town Mall.
Surveying the public about no smoking signs, and I'm interviewing a restaurant owner about the effect of no smoking laws on his restaurant. So I would like to introduce Dave from City Limits Cafe. Dave, please speak your remarks. First of all, I'd like to find out something about about you personally, and I'd like to know, are you a smoker? No. You do right now probably isn't very enforceable.
No, not at this point. Not until they start a real campaign of education. And it really is important. They're just unaware at this point. They feel they have the right to smoke, and they don't realize that it isn't just a feeling of something. It is an actual health hazard threat.
They're causing health hazards.
They don't accept that at this stage.
Okay, I thank you for the cooperation. Appreciate it. Thanks. I will be asking post-secondary students what they think of the no smoking signs posted around the campus. And this will include a number of questions that we've set up as a questionnaire. So let's go ask them. Ever smoked before?
No. No.
You've never smoked. Okay, I wanted to ask you what you thought of the no smoking signs around campus. Do you think they're a good idea?
I think they're a good idea. You may not see it now, but I am a contact lens wearer, and because of that, I'm wearing my glasses today because sometimes I get a shot of smoke and it's just too hard on my eyes.
Right.
If people had more consideration for the people with contact lenses and things like that, it would be better, get longer.
Okay. Great. And what about you? Do you think they're a good idea, the no smoking signs around campus?
Oh, sure, yeah. As again, being a non-smoker, some of my family members have been smokers, and I haven't, enjoyed being around them. And I think, if I want to come to school and be productive and stuff, I shouldn't have to deal with it, right? So I can go somewhere else.
Great. Okay. Now, if you were to go to a restaurant, would you eat in a restaurant that didn't have a no smoking area, so it was all smoking? Would you go into a restaurant like that?
Well, a lot of times I go to restaurants as a social activity, and sometimes you have to conform to whatever people are going to. But I do take the non-smoking section whenever possible, and try and be prepared for that. But I do prefer not smoking.
Okay. And you...
I'll see what he says.
You're the same? Okay. Now, if you were to have some friends over that smoke in your home, would you ask them to not smoke?
Yeah, no. People don't smoke in my car or at home or anything like that. It's just common courtesy because it does leave a smell in your things. And, it's like damaging your things. They should ask to smoke or not smoke.
Right. And
Same sort of way, I wouldn't want anybody smoking around my house and stuff. And I have a small child too, so I'm not going to be overly paranoid. We don't want people smoking around them anyway, so not when they're really young.
great. And my last question is, how do you feel the media do you think they're doing a sufficient job in reporting on the damages of smoking and the dangers of smoking? Do you think they're doing a good job of that?
I think it would depend a lot on what kind of advertising revenue they're getting, doesn't it? I mean, the only ever bad things you really hear about smoking, is you look on the box of cigarettes and there's the Surgeon General's warning on the back of magazines and stuff. The media, I guess the media doesn't want to play political hot potatoes. If the media starts harping on how bad smoking is and all that kind of stuff, they're going to get the smokers irritated, and if they don't do it, they're just, if they play the field without making any comment, then, supposedly they shouldn't irritate anybody. So...
The media is too mixed up as far as reporting goes, because they'll go from fanatics that will say anything to scare to decent scientific evidence to not so decent scientific evidence funded by whoever has an interest in it. You just don't know what to trust within the media. And I believe smoking is bad, but I don't believe it's as bad as the fanatics say, and I don't think it's as good as everybody else says, so I just don't like smoking.
Okay, see?
Yep.
Okay, I'm just wondering, you are a smoker, obviously.
Obviously.
Okay, if you do smoke, how many cigarettes do you smoke a day?
10.
10 cigarettes? Okay.
At least.
Have you ever wanted to try and quit smoking?
Yes, I have.
Okay, have you done that, recently?
Well, I keep on trying, but it doesn't seem to work.
Yeah, it's kind of a hard habit to quit. Okay, I'd like to ask you about the no smoking signs posted around campus. How do you feel about those?
It's not bad. I can go out or to taps for a smoke. Doesn't really matter to me.
I've noticed that just outside taps there used to be a smoking lounge. It's now a no smoking area.
Yeah?
Yeah, just outside
Oh, just
Cap.
outside. Oh, I never go there anyway.
That's a recent development. What do you think of that? They've changed that from a smoking lounge to a no smoking lounge.
I don't care. I don't go there.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to ask you about restaurants. If you were to go to a restaurant as a smoker and there was no smoking area, how would you feel about that?
Well, if I was just with the guys who smoke all the time, then I'd say, okay, let's go somewhere else. But if I was with out on a date with a woman and she didn't smoke, then I'd say, okay, that's fine.
Okay. Okay, so if friends come over who do smoke, you don't ask them to refrain, or do you tell them to not smoke in your home?
If my parents are gone, they can smoke.
Okay. And what do you feel about the media doing a job of reporting about the dangers and the damage that smoking can do? How do you feel about that?
They can do whatever they want. I mean, if you're going to smoke, you're addicted. If you're addicted, that's too bad. I mean, it's not going to change your mind. The media's on your case.
And one last question. They're thinking of putting a larger warning sign on the cigarette packages. Do you think that'll deter you from smoking?
Hell no.
Okay.
It doesn't help, man. I don't even read the stupid signs.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for your time. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Here at BCIT?
Yes.
And are you a smoker?
No.
So you've never smoked before in your life?
No.
You've never smoked?
No.
Okay. I'm just going to ask you about the no smoking signs on campus. How do you feel about them?
Fine.
They're okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask you about restaurants. If you were to go to a restaurant as a non-smoker and there was no smoking area, so it was all a smoking restaurant, would you go into that restaurant?
Yes.
You would?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, I'm going to ask you about people in your home. If you had friends over that smoked, would you ask them to refrain from smoking?
No.
You would allow them to smoke in your house? Okay. Also, I'm just wondering how you feel about the media reporting on the dangers and damage of smoking. Do you think there's
Secondhand smoke.
Okay, what'd you do there now? Just play it back? Okay, review.